Looks good. Thank you. Hi. My question is money and me. And
the money's in the vortex. Where are you?
That's
next.
Yeah. Well, that's the question. I feel.
Well, you see, here's the thing. The vortex is. So what's this screwy vortex anyway?
It's where the money is, right?
The vortex is a vibrational arena that, from physical manifestational terms, is a pre-manifestational space, a pre-manifestational environment. It's a pre-manifestational state of being. And we think that the only thing that, or the primary thing that hinders our physical friends who are contemplating this vortex is that they are accustomed to seeing it and then believing it. So if they don't see it, they don't believe it, because they haven't learned about vibrational essences of things. They don't yet understand that before something manifests, that there is a vibrational essence of it. So that's what we attempt to assist you in understanding, is that if you can feel the essence of your money even before you have the tangible money, and if you practice the feeling of the essence of the money, then the vibration of you is the vibration of having plenty of money, and then you become a cooperative component to the money. So recently we've been saying it in a way that is satisfying to those who are listening in, and that is that when you get into the vortex and you hang around in there pretty consistently, that then in that, let's start with this subject. This is the subject of cooperative components, which is right where we started with you. We said the money's in the vortex, where are you? So the money, we see it as a cooperative component already, but we don't see you in there with it, and we don't see you seeing it yet, because you're not in there seeing it yet. You're out there seeing the absence of it. It's in there vibrationally, but it hasn't manifested in a way that is really believable to you. And so most people say, show it to me and then I'll believe it. And we say, believe it and then it will be shown to you. And you say, well, that really stinks. In other words, show it to me and then I'll believe it. And we say, believe it and then it will be shown. So that's the concept that we're asking you to accept, while we recognize that it's unpleasant. So then we're talking about this vortex that, since it hasn't manifested yet because it's a vibrational space, it's not something that you can translate with your physical senses. And you and almost everybody else you know have become accustomed to letting your belief hinge on what you can translate with your physical senses. So if you can see it and hear it and smell it and taste it and touch it, then it's a reality you can believe. But if you can't see it and hear it and smell it and taste it and touch it, then it's not yet a reality that you believe. Although you do have some departure from that. You don't hear what your dog hears, but you don't doubt that he's hearing it. You found a way to build that bridge. Well, he just hears in a different range, smells in a different range too. That's to your advantage, really. So now we're stretching it a little bit, aren't we? In other words, there are things that you believe that are not your personal experience, but you don't doubt. So then can you conceptually accept that there is money that you can't see, that if you could get into the vortex, and we don't recommend you do it on the subject of money because that'll throw you out, but get in there any way you can till your average vibration raises, Now what's going to begin to happen is you're going to begin rendezvousing with other cooperative components. Well, what will those cooperative components look like? Well, in the beginning, the cooperative component is just an emotion. It's an emotion of interest. Haven't you had the experience where you're really interested in something even though you don't really know why? Haven't you ever found a person to be really fascinating even before you've had any really conversation? In other words, there's an interest. Well, that's you becoming a cooperative component. Right. So ideas begin to occur to you. Impulses begin to occur to you. Esther was driving yesterday really fast and loving it. She had her cruise set at 75 in a 65 zone, but she kept finding herself wanting to go faster than that, but wanting to be aware. And so she was wailing down a section of the road. Jerry was sleeping in the back seat, and otherwise he would have been clinging on to something. And then Esther heard soft words that said, you may want to slow down. Only time she heard those words all day. She slowed down, and when she came right around the corner, there was a policeman with his radar. And Esther thought, ooh, being in the vortex is so cool. Because she was in total alignment, rendezvousing with an impulse, rendezvousing with an idea, rendezvousing with whatever you need. In other words, there weren't flashing lights. She didn't see other cars slamming on their brakes. She doesn't have a radar detector on her car. In other words, it was an impulse. She rendezvoused with the perfect impulse to keep her moving along safely and comfortably and ticket-free. So what we're getting at is, as you accept the reality, and we know you do, of this vortex, and you accept that it's a vibrational place that is different in the way you play with it. It's a place that you feel, not a place that you see. So now you start approaching it as wanting to be as cooperative a component as you can be, which means you just work to get in there as best you can and milk it as long as you can while you're in there. Then what begins to happen is, when you rendezvous with an impulse, even before you have any tangible evidence, in other words, that impulse may not immediately lead to something that gives you money, but it doesn't have to, because it was an impulse that felt good when it came. So now you're a cooperative component, a conscious cooperative component to impulses that increasingly feel good to you. And so then it's our promise to you, the vortex will begin to take shape and form. The vortex will become, just like the movie Transformers, it will become a tangible thing that you then can experience. At first, it's just this vibrational space that you feel. Then it becomes a vibrational space where you not only feel, but you get impulses. You get impulses to go and impulses to stop and then it becomes a vibrational space where those impulses pay off, where it leads to something that's tangible in the sense that you're having a conversation. In other words, this vortex will present itself to you in the form of abundance that you can take to the bank and spend, if you will allow yourself to reside in it in all of its pre-manifestational forms for a longer period of time. And that's what happens to most people. Most people don't have patience about it. The vortex spits them out, and they don't have the patience to get back in, because they want it to be instant manifestation, like the stuff that they see out there in the manifested world. The vortex will give you everything that you want. You just have to be willing to let it be an emotional experience first. And that's what people in religion and otherwise have been calling faith for a long time. Maintaining the vibration that feels good. Doesn't faith feel good? Doesn't faith feel like expectation? And isn't faith sweet and delicious while doubt is icky and harsh? So it's a matter of letting the vortex feel good to you for a long enough period of time that it can prove to you the cooperative components that have already been gathered.